Yes, you. We are so happy you're here in our discussion space, Kaydian.
Yes, we're very happy that you're here. And actually, you need to be here because we'll be discussing a topic that may affect you and many other Canadians and people all over the world. So now is the opportunity to go call your friends and family and tell them to watch. They can't afford to miss this one.
And that is why we have our ladies. Good evening. We
Hi,
are
ladies.
so happy for this opportunity again.
So what's the topic for tonight?
Well, so Georgette, Treacha, Simone, I know that you're ready for this topic. You know why I know? Because this topic affects each and every one of us. And that is why, our dear viewers, we are going to talk about, well, let's rewind that. This topic affects many homes, every home.
How to break the chain of financial bondage. Interesting.
I wonder why it's called chain, Georgette. Why is it called chain of financial bondage?
It's called chain of financial bondage because honestly, when your money is tight, you feel as if you can't move, you can't do anything. So it's as if you are chained down, you know, you are not free to do the things that you want to do, or sometimes it may even affect your ability to do what God is calling you to do.
Well,
and it may be a chain because it is coming from generations, you know, generational decisions that have been passed down to us and that affect our ability to manage our funds because of how we were trained as children and what we grew up seeing around us, you know.
So anyone that is suffering a financial bondage, we can liken it to a chain because, you know, chain interlocks, right?
Yes.
That is serious and deep.
It is indeed. It is indeed.
So because of that, some people lack, some people have a lot, and some people are under bondage. Let's unpack this topic this evening.
You know, I think sometimes, as Georgette said, it can be generational, and it's a topic that a lot of people don't want to talk about. You know, we'll go to church, for example, we go to prayer meeting and we say we can ask for prayer because we have a sickness or we have a disease. It could even be cancer. We're not afraid to say, I have cancer, can you pray for me? But sometimes when people are buried down in debt, they are not willing to say, can you pray for me, or anything like that. So it's this silent thing that has people bound in a sense.
Wow.
And sometimes, Simone, it's how we manage our money, our finances. Georgette made mention that our predecessors would have made bad decisions. So at the end of the day, we feel that poor decision that they made. But I mean, there are ways in which we can break those chains.
We're going to get to the ways, you know. Yes. We have to get to the ways. But for now, the reality is what we're hitting home. People are having money problem. And it doesn't matter, viewers, it doesn't matter where you're from. You are suffering this situation that we're talking about.
You know,
like you said, you know, most people are affected this way. And it's not just generational. Sometimes people can get into debt simply because they lost their jobs. Yes. You know, we, like in Canada right now, it is said that we are in a recession. We see a lot of people losing their jobs. We see a lot of people becoming homeless. So sometimes it's not the past, it's what's happening in your current situation.
You hit home a point that affects my life. But before I explain my situation, I know Kaydian wanted to say something.
Yes, the truth is, Canada is in a recession, and I don't think it's just isolated to Canada. Many other places are afflicted as well. I actually took the liberty to look at the statistics.
All right.
And according to the MNP Consumer Debt Index of 2026, they have seen the highest level of persons officially filing for insolvency. And insolvency is basically persons being in a state of debt where they're unable to find the money to pay for their expenses.
Yes.
And the statistic says 37,000 Canadians every quarter apply for this insolvency. So a significant amount of persons are in a financial crisis.
But Kaydian, I'm really curious, ladies. I want us to dwell a little bit on this. How do you know when you're in financial bondage? Let's explain that. Let's open that a little bit. How do you know when you're in financial bondage? Georgette.
If you find that every month you have to borrow to supplement your income, you find that you're always owing money and your credit card bill is never paid, you are in trouble. And in fact, just quickly, the Bible says that the borrower is a slave to the lender. And so that true. For me says such a lot,
George, let me pick up on your statement a bit. It's not just you not being able to pay your credit card. It can be a case where you're using your credit card more than the norm. Because when you find that you start to use your credit card more than the norm, then you know that something is wrong. Especially if it's not the norm.
Yeah. But Trish, you said something that I wanted to lean back on a little bit about what Simone said, but I'm almost sure I saw Georgette. Georgette?
Yes?
I almost saw that you wanted to say something before.
No.
Okay. So Trish, Simone mentioned that people sometimes don't have a job and that's why they're in debt. No, this is personal for me because there was a time when I was working for a year. How can you not be working for a year? But do you use to live? I have to use the credit cards.
There is a rule. I'm not sure what it calls, but in Canada, the formula they have is the 50-30-20, where 50% of your income should be dedicated to your needs.
Hold on here, Kaydian. I just explained a while ago that I wasn't working. So there is no money to spend.
No. This is when working.
No, but let us deal with my issue first because this is important. This is very important.
No, but I'm getting to that point. So the 50-30-20 rule, if we are able to apply that to our lives, then it will allow us to have savings in the key to cushion in times of job loss or difficulty. So the 50-30-20 is that they're saying 50% should be dedicated towards your needs. Those are your necessities, your mortgage, your rent, your food, utilities, etc. Then the 30 is towards, for example, traveling and going to the movies, whatever, those things you would want to do. And then 20% should be towards saving and also paying off debt.
Okay.
Right? So what they project, if you apply this principle, you should have in surplus a few months of cushioning funds in the case of emergency.
Kaydian, I'm getting right back to the point. What about the little man?
The reality.
That's about the little man and the reality of the story.
No,
each person's story.
It's just a formula.
As Sherye said, her reality was that she had no money.
Yes.
Had a good job. right? No,
Yes.
and that can happen. There are different things that can bring us to a point where we're in that position. A
No,
good
yes.
bout of illness can put you in a position where all your savings are gone.
It's just gone. That is so true.
And then there are persons who just don't earn enough money in the first place to take care of that 50%.
Right.
Yes.
So the reality is what we're
And
talking about.
Georgette, and
those
Georgette,
kinds of things. So what I want to say to those persons though, is that no matter how small your income is, you can always cut back. Because
That is it.
you can always cut back. So when you think about, I've had clients who are domestic helpers and they get minimum wage, but they are able to own homes.
Yes.
They are able to send their children to university. And how are they able to do it? They live within their means.
They
It means
live.
that you cannot live in a house for $25,000 when you can only afford a $5,000 room.
Yes.
And it may mean that you may have to live in a room until you can get out of that room.
Yes.
But Georgette, yeah. I know, Trish, I know you wanted to say something, and I would love to hear what you're going to say, because I'm still going back to the reality. Go ahead, Trish.
so I want to hear your reality as well, but there are also cases where you would have made a big investment, not knowing that, we were going in the country or the world would go into recession. And after that investment, you go broke. It wasn't a plan. You would have been using the right principles. You would have been doing everything that you were supposed to do, but you make an investment, a major investment, and then you just go broke after because you didn't project what would have happened after.
And I want to go back to what Sherye said. She was unemployed for a whole year. No, that is a long time to be unemployed. You still have your rent to pay. You still have everything. So it doesn't matter how much you have saved. After a while, it's going to be depleted. Because it's not that she got into debt because she didn't plan, she didn't save. Being unemployed for a year or more is something that can ruin anybody.
And not only that, I came from Jamaica with $6,000. So how do you now live every day? There comes a time when it's going to go out. And that was my reality. No, I had to bank on the credit cards. There are times when I go to the supermarket, Kaydian, and I have to decide which card to use. Now you see where it all happening. And we're talking about the little man out there or the little person out there who has these reality. How do they really face this break in the bondage financially?
I'm going to go back to that point. I know it is hard. Sherye, and it's hard for a lot of persons. And so we have to start where we are. Now, many years ago, my husband and I were in debt. And I remember praying to the Lord and saying, Lord, bring us back to zero. Sometimes we need to come back to zero. But when we get to zero, we have to do things differently. So it may mean that some of the risks that you took before, you can't take it anymore. It may mean that you have to do without some things. There are times when you literally, my mom would say, have to ban your belly and do without some major things to build back up your resources. So yes, that 1 year would have been difficult. But now that you are working, how do you ensure that going forward, if something like that should happen again, you are never position? And that is what this discussion is about tonight.
Okay.
There is renowned lady, for the life of me, I cannot recall her name, but she had a similar situation where she fell on her face and she had a young child. And what broke her was when she realized she could not afford the basic amenities, which is like a diaper for her young child. And she said she made up into her mind that she had to get out of this situation. You talk about cutting back. She cut back on everything. She moved from the house that she was in to a small room where she shared an house, and she and her son in that little room. It was inconvenient and uncomfortable, but she did it.
Okay.
And the little money that she earned, she dedicated or put aside a certain amount every month, and she did not touch it. Many years passed, and she decided she's going to go to the bank to see what was there. When she went there, even the bank teller could not believe the amount, because she kind of gave it a name, not her right name, and everybody wanted to know who this person was. So when she went there, the money that was there in the bank was able to lift her from her current situation and give her opportunity to gain more.
Okay.
To start her business. So Georgette is right. Being intentional. I need to get out of this debt. Cutting back on the spending and just going for the necessity will be the first step.
And that is why we are going to take a break right here. We're going to take a break, because when we come back, we're going to see how many persons can navigate this path that Kaydian has just mentioned. Stay tuned.
This Sabbath, June 13th, be part of something powerful. Digital Outreach Day. Across Ontario and beyond, thousands are coming together with one mission: to share hope, love, and truth in today's digital world. Imagine over 38,000 Adventists flooding the internet with Christ-centered messages, lifting up Jesus and reaching hearts everywhere. It's simple. Engage with purpose. Like, comment, share. Every interaction helps the message go further. Start conversations that matter. Turn curiosity into commitment. Reach out personally. Create, inspire. Tell your story. Share your faith. Support digital ministries. Be part of a movement bigger than yourself. Use the hashtags. Hashtag Adventist Digital Outreach Day. Hashtag Adventist Ontario. Hashtag Adventist Life. One mission, one voice. Jesus loves you, and he is coming soon. Go all in, faithfully, creatively, boldly. Let's take the internet by storm on Digital Outreach Day.
Are you still there? I hope so. Because we are going to establish the cost of financial bondage. But before that, Trish, I know you had something you wanted to roll out on this discussion carpet.
I was saying to Kaydian that it took a lot of discipline for Lisa Nichols to be able to put aside that little money from the little that she was earning. So for us to think about coming out of our financial chains and bondages, we have to think about the level of discipline that we would need to have.
It requires, yes.
Yes.
Yes. It's about our mindset. We have to realize that God didn't create us to live in a state where we cannot support ourselves and our families. And he has given us the means to earn and create wealth. And wealth doesn't mean billions of dollars, but as long as you're able to provide for yourself, you can ask God to give you ideas, to allow you to become creative and resourceful, to manage the little resources that you have, and create abundance for yourself and family.
I saw Georgette nodding there a while ago. Georgette, I saw you nodding. It is worth hearing.
Just agreeing. I'm just agreeing.
So yes.
I was just thinking that even the Bible, as I said, the Lord supports us having wealth or being financially well. When we look at the talent, He gave the talent.
Right.
It's what they did with it. The 5 multiplied, the 2 multiplied, the 1 hid it.
Okay.
Right? So He gives us the opportunity to provide for ourselves. I'm not going to say that the ground is equal. It is not equal. You have some persons who do grow up in a poverty-stricken environment. But there are opportunities. So, for example, in Canada, in Jamaica, I remember when education became free, you know what the students did? They just went, wrote their names on the paper for the CXC, GC, and walked out. They did not take opportunity or make use of the opportunity that was given them.
Right, yeah.
So when the opportunity is not made use of, how can you rise up unless you have a natural skill like Usain Bolt and Sherye and Fraser Price?
Yes, Georgia.
I want to make the point though that like anything else, we require education for things that are valuable. So a lot of times, financial prudence is not something that happens overnight.
Yes.
In fact, I have just learned financial prudence in the last 5 or 10 years of my life.
Okay.
And
That's
it's something that I have been deliberate about learning. So my mom used to say, if you want to hear about a dress, you speak to a dressmaker. You know, speak to a carpenter.
Shoemaker.
Or a shoemaker.
Yes.
And so if you want to learn about wealth, you have to spend time speaking to people who are wealthy. You have to start asking those questions. What are you doing that I am not doing?
Yeah, doing, yes.
And we don't stop to ask those questions. We just say, "Sure, them already have the money." But if we ask questions, we would learn a lot.
Not more.
So I want to ask this question right now. Is there a cost to financial bondage?
Oh, yes.
I hear everybody saying, oh, yes. Let's hear it.
When you think about the cost is your peace of mind.
Yes.
The cost is your health. Because you're going to be so stressed about finding the money to do X, Y, and Z that you become stressed, and stress lead to illness. So the cost is not just not being able to afford the things that you need or want, but it's going to affect you, and not just only you, but probably generations to come. Because it's like Georgette said, you don't learn financial prudence. Your children are going to grow up and adopt the same poor financial habits that you have, displayed to them.
Yes.
And
it's what they learn.
It also affects your relationship with other people. Because when you don't have money, you borrow from your friends, you don't pay them back. When you can't pay them back, you stop answer the call, you start telling lies for no reason.
This is serious.
Every time your phone could ring, you start have to block your number and start using it.
Hold on, Georgette. I want you to say this, but I want you to say it so that the viewers can hear it dropping. Because this is serious. Go ahead, Georgette.
Yes, so I was saying, let me say it a little slower.
Yes.
Right. That when you are having financial bondage, it affects your relationship with others because you can't be totally honest with people. So you borrow money from your friends, and when you can't pay it back, you just stop talking to them.
Wow.
Or when your phone ring, you get nervous. You say, who is calling now?
Stop
Or you
answering it.
You're right. Or you keep changing your numbers.
This is no
Or you
joke.
don't take private call because it's a boy, it might be the bank, or it might be
Yeah.
person coming to claim back the car or claim back the furniture, But the truth is that at some point you have to acknowledge that you're in trouble.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
you have to say, how do I get back to zero? Because that's where you want to get back.
Yes,
Yes.
zero.
Getting back to
Zero
zero.
debt.
Yes, yes.
So Georgette,
Yes.
so there was one point when I was, and I wouldn't say I was in a financial bondage or chain, because it was that I made an investment. And because I made that investment, I didn't have any liquid. There was no cash. There was just no cash around me any at all. And I had to make a conscious decision and say, okay, Treacha, these are some of the things you would need to stop doing in order to maintain what you have just invested in. No, it has been 3 years and I am far better than where I was after making that investment. And it's a lucky thing I made the investment. So
Trish,
I have to make sacrifices.
Trish, you mentioned about investments, and I want to take you back, especially for those who are in Jamaica. There was a time in Jamaica where people invested in some scheme and pyramid scheme. What happened to them, Georgette?
I want to address that.
You want to address it?
Yes, I want to.
Okay, go ahead.
A fool and his money are soon parted.
Say that again.
A fool and his money are soon parted. A fool, yes. So if you are investing in something that when you check the balance sheet, it doesn't make sense. So everybody getting double 50% on their money. After a while, which is not possible, after a while the money is going to run out. Who is it going to run out on? The second thing is not just that. Out of a principle of being a Christian, you're taking money from one person to enrich yourself. Okay. And so it was wrong in the very beginning to have gone into these schemes. And those of us who got knocked by it, we have to take our slaps and move on.
I know people that sell their car in a Georgette.
I know somebody who lost their home because they took a loan against a truck that they had borrowed some money against. And when they couldn't pay back the money, they lost their home. That person who went to Bellevue, they lost their mind because they had invested everything. Because the money was sweet, They were investing $1 million and getting back $1 million on it.
That sounds good.
So it was sounding very good, but it was quick money. It was not. It was unfair money. And at the end of the day, those things will come back to haunt us. There are some people who are able to walk away. Yes. I remember some people walk away, but not all persons have the same luck.
Yes. Let's get in.
Georgette mentioned about financial prudence. And unfortunately, neither, unless you're doing finance or some business course, you don't really learn these things in school.
Right.
So it is through experience or being deliberate.
Go ahead.
In terms of finding out this information that you can actually learn
from.
And the case in point, for example, we have heard of so many persons who are incidents where persons have won the lottery. And because of their poor spending habit, they were worse off than before they won.
Yes.
Right? So financial prudence is very important in terms of maintaining financial
stability. Trish, I know you wanted to say something there when Kaydian started.
No, I was saying to Kaydian that I wouldn't agree with her when she says that more persons would have to go to maybe a financial institution or study, because some things is really common sense. Because if it is that you bought a house, if you used to live lavish and then you bought a house you can't live the same life that you were living before you purchased that house unless you're right, unless you're earning more or you're financially stable, you're good.
Yes.
But if it is that you're not, then something has to cut. Something has to give to push you back to where you were before you purchased that house. So I'm saying that college or university or a financial institution is not supposed to, you don't need to learn that from the institution. That's really common sense.
Yes.
It's common sense, but it requires, I don't think, not everybody. I've worked with people, right? And we used to get decent money. And I'm telling you how they spend. The latest thing, they have to get it.
Yes.
They have to get it. You see, by the time they are to leave, to go back home, they're asking for their salary in advance. Poor financial management.
Decisions, poor financial management.
Yes. So it's maybe common sense, but it may not be.
But it's a reality of some people.
The principle doesn't change.
Yes.
Your principle never ever change.
More than you earn. You find yourself spending more than you earn,
Something is wrong.
That is the
All right, so we're gonna do some hashtags here. Yeah, Georgette, we're gonna do some hashtags.
No problem.
You cannot hashtag. You cannot spend more than you earn. You might end up. I didn't say you will.
It's not might, it's will.
You will. Say you will end up in financial bondage. And there is a cost for financial bondage.
Your peace of mind.
Yes.
Peace of mind.
So I am very curious to ask this question. And Simone, I know you're the expert on this. But where does tithing comes into this whole financial life of ours and the viewers? Do we have to tithe? How does it work? Let's hear it. And then I know Georgette would want to chime in, and Trish, who is a businesswoman, and Kaydian, of course, the theologian. Go ahead.
Yes, for sure. Tithing is so important. It's a principle laid down by God himself. And even people who are not Christians have reaped the benefits of tithing. Because when you return to God, what belongs to him, he's going to bless you. And I have experienced that, even this year when I realized my salary did not go up, but I said, I'm going to increase my tithe simply because I know that God is going to be faithful. I am faithful to him. He is going to be faithful to me. So once we return what belongs to God, he's going to show up and show himself to be faithful. The Bible says, will a man rob God? Yes. I don't want the one to rob God, definitely, because he's good. And, when you put your trust in God, he is going to come through for you.
I think it is evident. I think it is evident that we are going to take a break, because when we come back, or the next time when you see us, we are going to bring it home to you. And I know you're on the edge of your seat. I know that you have sent out this video. I know that you have subscribed, and I know that you're commenting, because right here we're gonna bring it home. Simone mentioned that she did. Did you say you double your
Tidy.
No, I didn't double it, but I increased
You
the
increased.
time, even though my salary did not increase. Yeah,
But that sounds like a faith thing that you.
it's a faith thing because
It's backed up by
we know,
scripture.
Oh,
Bible
like
says,
we know, I am
prove.
feeling the financial crisis that we're experiencing here in Canada.
yeah.
And so I said, the only way I'm going to get through this is if I,
What?
work with this principle. And I know God is going to do it.
Bless you.
The Lord says, prove me.
All right, Kaydian.
Prove me, and will I not pour out
a blessing.
a blessing that your storehouse is not able to contain it. That's the promise.
Yes.
So,
What is it? Yes, Georgette.
I have proven the Lord where
yes.
I have proven him over and over again.
Over again.
My business, the first 2 months, I was barely making any money. And I said, Lord, out of the little that I'm making, I'm going to start returning tithe. And I have been in business for over 15 years. There has never been a month when I can't pay my salaries or my staff. There has never been a month when I don't have excess, because when you give to the Lord, His promise is just so sure. You can literally depend on Him. Regardless of whatever is happening in the world today, we can depend on Him.
The scripture says, press down, shaken together, and running over. Give until it come back to you. Yes, giving to the returning to the Lord. So we're going to establish the whole idea of returning, because you can't give to the Lord, right? So we are returning. Yes, Trish.
Sherye, it doesn't have to be tithing, because sometimes as Christians, I don't believe in just returning tithe only. Most times, most persons believe in just returning their tithe and not giving back to the church. But I can attest that even since this year has begun, my life has changed dramatically because of how I have been making sacrificial gifts to my church. And my church has a project that we're working on now. We're buying a piece of land next door to us to build the church. And December 31st, we did a activity where all the church members were supposed to give sacrificially. And I gave a sacrificial sum. And I have noticed that I was in overdraft. Let me declare it. I was in overdraft all year.
Reality.
And since this year, about March, I've realized that I'm not in overdraft. The month has ended. And I'm in a new month. Usually at this part of the month, I am stressing to get money to put in my account, and that is not happening now. And I have been giving sacrificially since the land project has started up until today. So I am a living testimony of tithing and giving back.
So you have given the viewers, Trish, a new word, sacrificial giving. So we are going to know, Georgette, take this home. How does someone break from this financial bondage, and how can they lead themselves into a legacy of full? Yes, Georgette.
Allow me to do a little list.
Yes.
So one, understanding that nothing we have belongs to you, it belongs to God. And so we are to always give back. And two, closed hands don't get anything. You must be clean. And three, always understand that anytime you get anything extra that you didn't expect, it's extra. Save it.
Yes.
And it's never too little to save. Always put aside something. And fourthly, teach your children how to save. And how you do that is that you are to give them a little allowance or give them their lunch money and show them how to save out of it. Don't just give them everything they ask for.
Right.
And finally, live within your means.
Amen.
Let's
do some practical reality. How do you lift up yourself out of financial bondage? How do you personally? Let's hear.
But first of all, Sherye, what we have to do, or what I do, I like to personalize things. I had to change my mindset, and I had to maintain a discipline. And I had to say to myself that, okay, Treacha, for the next 5 years, this is what you're going to do, and this is how you're going to live. And these are all the things you're not going to do unless you can afford to do so. So, yes, viewers, I know that it's not easy. I know that it is hard. And I know that, being in a financial bondage, it is rough. But when you start with the end in mind, when you look at 5 years down the line, the sacrifices that you're making today, and you're going to enjoy it 5 years down the line, it will give you the energy and the zeal, the zest to start putting aside and to start making sacrifices, to not buying the ice cream, buying the pretty clothes, buying the pretty shoes when you have 10 or 20 pair in the box already and you're still buying more.
So we're talking about the thrift store. We're talking about the we're talking about the food bank for some people. The reality. Simone, a single mom, how do you navigate this financial terrain?
One of the first things I do is assess my situation.
Okay.
So I know what debts I have, and I make sure that I'm paying down on the debts. Okay. It doesn't matter how small, because if you don't pay down on your debt, if you have credit cards, you have to start paying down on them. So just know the reality of your situation. And as Treacha said, you have to have that mindset that this is not where you want to live the rest of your life. If you don't do that, you will stay there until you die. But if you decide that you want to escape that, then you have to. And what I do is exercise self-discipline. So there are many things I have to give up and say no to. Not yet. I don't need it. So I am not going to spend money on it. And what I try to do is create a budget and stick with it. And I know it is hard, but that is what I have to do. I know how much money I have, and I try to live within my means.
Yes, Kaydian.
2 points I want to make. The first one is make this goal for financial stability a SMART goal, meaning that you have a specific goal regarding your finances. Make sure it is measurable, it is attainable, it is reliable, and it is time bound, and stick to it. The second thing that I have learned is that, as was mentioned in the discussion, is that sometimes financial instability can be inherited. And one of the ways to protect your generation from financial debt is not just to teach them, but I've also learned about insurance. In the sense that in the case of death, you can't, to bury a person is so much money. And when we die, our children have to bear that debt, the burden. And so if we have an insurance, where a life insurance, that in the case of our death, yes, we want to live forever, but things happen, then they don't have to be placed in debt. That money can be used to give us a proper burial, plus give them some money to live on after us. So it's about being intentional, and financially prudent.
Yes.
Right.
So what one practical way, as we close tonight, you want to leave with our viewers? One practical way to leave with our viewers how to get themselves out of the chain of financial bondage.
Start saving. Create an emergency fund so that when an emergency crop up, you have something that you can use and you don't have to depend on your credit card. And as we've said before, save from the little that you have. So if you don't have an emergency fund, start putting that together.
Does the emergency fund have to go into the bank, or it can be in your house under your mattress?
Put it where you
It can be an investment.
Put it where you can't reach it.
Okay. Put it where you cannot
Hard to
reach
reach.
it.
Hard to reach. Hard to reach.
Yes.
And if you weren't tithing, if you weren't returning your tithe, then start doing so and prove God.
Try.
Prove him.
Prove God. Ooh, I love that.
He's faithful.
I love that. Prove God. Yes.
I say, look at the thing that you love the most. Is it your shoes? It's buying shoes. It's buying a new suit of clothes. Don't buy any for the next for the next 5 months.
Right.
And treat that money as saving. Just anything at all that you love buying and you can't stop yourself from buying. Try it.
Another practical thing that persons can do is get us, what do you call it? Do it in Excel or just on a paper.
Spreadsheet, yes.
A spreadsheet. And you have your expenses and you have your income.
Experts, yes.
And when you tabulate and see where you are, if you realize, as Georgette keeps saying, your expenses are greater than your income, then assess your expenses and see what you can reduce or take away so that your income can actually cover your expenses.
Right. And there's a thing out there that has hit the world's wide web, TikTok, Instagram. It's about the budget binder. And the budget binder give you practical ways in which to save and where to tuck the money. And when that money is not used, what to do with it. Invest in one of them.
And I want to...
Yes, Kaydian.
I want to say too that... we should not be afraid to explore other...
Explore.
What did I say?
Explore.
Forgive me. To explore other income generating areas. Sometimes, you know, we have a little talent.
Yes.
So, for example, here in Canada, just simple lawn mowing.
Right.
Right. They are varying price. Just if you have a lawnmower, don't be too proud.
Yes.
There are people who will be very happy for your service.
And pet,
just
yes.
to go pet walking. They're just simple. That's just a simple thing to do in your spare time. And there are other things that you can also explore depending on your talent that you can tap into, which can potentially bring in more income.
Yes.
I'm glad you said that, you know, I just wanted to share this. My husband used to say, a belly full is a belly full. You know, sometimes because we, depending on the friends who we have, they are having KFC, but a tin of mackerel will fill your belly.
But Georgette, some people don't know mackerel. Only if you live in Jamaica, you know mackerel.
Right.
No, it's over here too.
So if we were to go to, you said the food bank, and get some tin food from the food bank.
Yes.
That is what you can afford. Food is food.
Don't be too proud.
Don't be too proud. Eat what you can afford at the time so that things can be better for you to be able to choose what you want to eat at a later time. But it doesn't matter because your belly will still be full.
We hope tonight's topic has inspired you and help you to walk out of financial bondage confidently.
Join us next week on Adventist Ontario.tv, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV.
And tune in every Sunday evening at 7 p.m.
when we will be discussing the challenges and the joys of parenting.
Thank you for joining us. This is Mantled for More.
And remember, the mantle marks you, but more, it transforms you. See you next time.